Got a chance to see the Netflix show American Primeval with Taylor Kitsch? Let's talk about it right now. Channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I'm your host, Frank Zanka. I am an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And if you're want to know anything about writing, whether it's comics or whatever, we are doing an interview with DC comic book writer Jeremy Adams, who is doing did The Flash. He's doing Green Lantern right now. He just released the first issue of Aquaman, Flash Gordon. Across the board, he also did rights for animation. He did the Super Sons with Superboy and Damian Wayne Robin, which is really good if you haven't seen it. It's a movie. I guess it's on probably on Max. But anyway, he's an amazing writer, and we're going to be doing an interview with him, a live stream. So if you're interested in that, you can just click the link below. It'll I think you can get notified through YouTube. But it's going to be on Friday at 8 o'clock EST, 5 o'clock PST. Anyway, check that out. But anyway, let's talk about American Primeval. This was written and created by Mark L. Smith. He wrote Overlord, which I really kind of like that one. He also wrote Revenant, of which DiCaprio, I think, won an award for. Anyway, he's a masterful writer for sure. He also did Martyrs. Oh my God, do not see Martyrs. Do not see Martyrs. I still have nightmares about that one. that was probably the most grotesque film I think I've ever seen. And I like the Saw films. Put it that way. Okay, that tells you something. He also wrote The Marsh King's Daughter, which I thought the script was good, but Daisy Ridley could not pull that part. Mendelsohn did a good job, but Daisy Ridley could not pull that part. She was wrongfully cast for that. The Boys in the Boat, and he also did Twisters. He wrote Twisters. So this guy, he can write. He also did the Vacancy movies. Yeah, he's written only a dozen movies, and most of them are very, very well known. And it amazes me how a Western can do well in a series, but we never see them on the big screen. And when we do, they lose money. I don't know. I don't understand it. Even the last Magnificent Seven with a huge cast like that lost money. But yet on TV it does fine. Because if you're a Western fan, which obviously you guys know because I even produced my own Western called Six Gun Savior, which I am attempting to get the rights back for right now because Redbox owns it, and Redbox is now out of business. So, I'm trying to get that back, but it's literally on Prime, it's on Tubi, I think it's everywhere. But anyway, mine was a supernatural Western, this is a straight Western. But if you haven't seen Godless, by it with Dockery from Downton Abbey. You know, that's a really, really good one. If you're a Western fan, that's a really good one too from Netflix. But anyway, Betty Gilpin's also in it. Taylor Kitsch can never catch a break because he normally does stuff and then it fails. He's been relegated to playing the villain recently. I think the only thing he's done where he's like the good guy is like Friday Nights or whatever. But Betty Gilpin's great. She's the one from Glow and The Hunt. If you haven't seen The Hunt, she's really, really good in that. Totally different character. She has an accent and everything. She has a southern accent. Really, she is an excellent, excellent actress. She reminds me of Jodie Comer a little bit. And I think both of them have a really, really good range. There was the other guy in this too. That the cast did a really, really great job together, I thought. And Abish, so they have a bunch of different little storylines going on that are not really weaving. They don't really weave, but they're in the same area. They're all taking place in the same area, but they don't really weave through one another. So also Shea Wiggum, he plays Jim Bridger in this. He was absolutely meant to be in a Western, for sure. I mean, he looks the part completely. But anyway, he was in the last Mission Impossible. He was the one chasing after Tom Cruise. He's also been in the Fast and the Furious. He was the guy working with the other co-lead, and he got his ass kicked 100% of the time. He's a great actor, that guy. He does a really, really good job, and he does equally well in here. He's really a badass in here. And then Jai Courtney. Jai Courtney basically plays a better bad guy than he does a good guy. I wasn't really happy with his Mr. Boomerang, or Captain Boomerang, from the Suicide Squad, but in this he does a good job. I think he's better relegated to something like that. He definitely, like, he played John Connor. That was really not the role for him when they did that Genesis movie. But this is basically the storyline is this woman, which we really don't find out. I wish we had seen a flashback of what happened to her and the son, but all we get is like a very simple explanation of what happened. But anyway, they're on the run because they killed somebody in Philadelphia, or I forgot where it was. So they go to see the husband, who has never really reached out to them. He went to a gold prospecting place, and they never heard from him again. So now that they were on the run, they decided to go to the husband and had to traverse the Old West to get there. And I don't know if I think they're in Montana or something to that effect. So anyway, they're a little bit too spoiled being from, up north, where there was civilization, and now they're like in a completely uncivilized area, and the villains of this are the Mormons, which I found extremely interesting. I gotta do some research on that. I'm sure it's true, but I never heard that the Mormons were bloodthirsty as they made their way west, which I guess they ended up in Utah or whatever. But right, isn't that where most of the Mormons are? I don't know. But they have really well-defined characters in here, as far as I'm concerned. I think the writing on this, again, we talked about the writer, but the writing's top-notch. And every episode in here is directed by Peter Berg. Peter Berg works with Mark Wahlberg a lot. First he started out as an actor. All through the 90s, he was an actor. He was originally attached to The Rock's Hercules, but I just looked and he wasn't. Last I heard, whenever that movie was in development, I thought he was attached. I heard that he was attached, but I guess he ended up doing. But he did like Lone Survivor, Mile 22, Patriot Day. He's just an amazing, amazing director, and he does not lose his talent here for certain. I thought the directing here was top notch. I think the whole series is really top notch, up to the ending. The plotting on the ending I was disappointed with. I'm not going to give it away. But I was disappointed with the ending. Anyway, before we go further, remember, too, that I am a comic book writer myself. And this is my sci-fi graphic novel. It's based on my 4-novel series. That's on Amazon. I also have them here, of course. If you want a copy, let me know. I do sign them. But this is a 150-page graphic novel, which is good for pretty much all ages. It's an adventure series. And it's also on Audible. With a male and female voice, so you don't have to worry about men going, "Hi," and then you got something, trying to act like a woman, and vice versa, women trying to deepen their voice. So I definitely hired 2 good actors that could play all the voices, and it comes off really well. So definitely check that out. And then this is my Vampire Mob set in 1950s. It's a double-sized issue. This is issue 1, which technically is issue 1 and issue 2 together and here combined. But it's basically True Blood meets The Godfather. So this is more of an adult book. Don't read this one to your kids for sure. And then the second issue, which technically I guess is 3 and 4, because they're 48 pages apiece. That's my Katana cover. This is the Maryland cover, because Maryland's actually in here because this takes place in the 1950s. You can see the Nosferatu in the back. This is the Werepanther. I have this in a nude version as well. This is the Samurai cover. And then this is the Helene cover. If you like any of them, just let me know in the comments section. Plus, I did hook up with Moonstone Books for the 89th anniversary of the Green Hornet. So the Green Hornets is not the book that we're going to be selling because it's going to be a hardcover. It's just one of the ones they've done in the past. But yeah, it's going to be a hardcover book celebrating the anniversary with some just amazing, amazing writers. If you're a fan of sci-fi, you'll know who Timothy Zahn is. He created Thrawn for Star Wars. He's going to be one of the major writers on this thing, including Kevin J. Anderson, who wrote for Dune, etc. There's going to be just an amazing lineup of writers on this thing. On Kickstarter, we've launched a pre-page where people can just sign up and get notified, and we have like 250 people already notified, and we have 2 weeks left to go. So definitely jump in there. It's going to be amazing. Go to greenhornetnoir.com, or if that doesn't work, there's a link in the description below as well. But definitely check that out. All right, so let's finish up with American Primeval. So we have all these people that are connected to the Mormons. Mormons are trying to be very they're isolated. They're trying to isolate themselves from anything else that's going on. They're trying to just fortify their own claims to whatever land that they have. So the Bridger has this fort. They want that. They don't want it to take it. They want to destroy it so that nobody comes there and has any place to stay. So we start out with Betty Gilpin's character, Sarah, and her son joining this caravan because they have nobody really to take them. And then the caravan gets attacked. And when it does, they're left as pretty much the sole survivors. And then they meet a younger couple there that just got married, and really what happens to them is pretty nasty. But you have Abish that was part of that, and she gets taken by the Indians, of which she ends up with Red Feather after that. Really, really good stuff there about what happens to them. I was more interested in what was happening with her than I was with the rest of everybody else. I thought she had a really, really interesting story. Unfortunately, it doesn't end the way I would have liked that to end, but I saw it coming a mile away, what was going to happen. And the husband almost gets scalped, and so throughout the entire thing, he has this huge gash on his head. It was pretty gross. But yeah, so there was the son he starts out as a cripple, right? He has a brace on his leg, but then they take it off and he can still walk fine. So I don't know what that issue was, but then he gets messed up completely. And then they pick up a character named Two Moons, who was basically getting continuously raped by somebody else. I don't know if it was her father or her uncle or whatever, but it was definitely a family member or part of the tribe. And she finally ends up taking enough of that shit, and she's like, "I'm gonna kill you." And then so she's on the run. She can't stay in her village anymore, so she ends up with the others, and I think that relationship really worked, and the building of that relationship. So you have their story, which also Taylor Kitsch's. He was raised in an Indian village as well, and he ends up taking them to where the husband's going to be. That's his job, and of course, she never listens to him. She tries to warn her 100 times. No, don't do that. No, don't. And she does it anyway, and she fucks everything up. So you have them there, which becomes almost like a family. So you have Taylor Kitsch's character, and you have Betty Gilpin, her son, and Two Moons all together as a unit. And I thought that really, really worked. And then you have Abish, who's her husband's looking for her, but meanwhile, Sarah, Betty Gilpin's character, has a bounty on her. So she's got bounty hunters continually coming after her throughout the entire 6-episode season. And I think that 6 episodes was a good, jumping off point where it's an ending. There's definitely no sequel to this because it definitely ends. There's no, most of the characters are gone at this point. So then again, that's one of my problems with what happens with the ending. But anyway, so I thought that, but the characters are really, really likable for the most part, and nobody is safe. I'll put it that way. Also, nobody's safe throughout the entire show. But anyway, I really recommend it. Again, I'm a huge fan of westerns, and how they could have. I don't think they shot in the snow, but the snow didn't look. It didn't look fake. I've worked with fake snow, and it didn't look fake either. So I don't know if they shot literally in Montana. I had to look at that where they end up shooting this. So I just looked it up, and it was shot in New Mexico. And as far as I know, New Mexico doesn't have snow. so, so I guess that snow was fake. They had to use ice chippings, and ice chippings don't stay around long. They would have had to shoot fast. But a lot of this, and they put dirt. I mean, there was dirt and mud everywhere. I can't even imagine what the crew looked like. They must have been dirty. I've shot in some stuff where it rained the entire time and it was just mud everywhere. It sucks. And for them to shoot an entire 6 episodes in the mud and dirt and all this stuff, oh my God, the crew probably just whatever footwear they were wearing by the time that they probably tossed that shit in the garbage. Anyway, this is a highly recommend for me. This is a 9 out of 10 if you are a fan of westerns. It really goes balls to the wall on the western side. It does not pull any punches. And the whole how they even shot some of this stuff. Because I really didn't see any CG. They had wolves in this. They had, horses doing all bunch of stuff. Hats off to a lot of what they were able to get done. And the villains in here, you want them to die horribly. Absolutely. And there's some guys in here that should have died horribly that didn't. And I kind of wanted that to happen too. All right, well, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much. Did you watch it? Let me know if you watched it and what you thought of it. Did you see the ending coming? Anyway, let me know. Also, remember to give me that like, give me that subscribe if you can, and ring that bell, ding, ding, and if definitely let you know about when I'm putting out new things, getting notified. I am going to go see Wolfman, so I'm going to be doing a review on that as well. Also, remember, too, to check out my interview with Jeremy Adams on Friday, and on top of that, go to greenhornetnoir.com and definitely get notified on that one because it's going to be pretty amazing. There's also a link in the description below for both of those projects. All right. Talk to you guys later. Have a great week. Bye-bye.